Howdy folks, I'm Cantankerous European Common Blue, candidly creating cacophonous commotions.
I'm Amber.
And here are more cacophonous commotions for us to create. We do it because we're butterflies, and if you flap your wings and you create a hurricane somewhere. Haven't you ever heard of that before, the butterfly effect? Let's get started.
I don't think that's how that works, but okay.
Alright folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Yelling at My Partner Who Keeps Buying Crappy Branded Food When I've Asked Him Not to? My partner, a 37-year-old male, and I, a 38-year-old female, have 2 young kids, and we are well and truly in the trenches with our newborn at the moment. Both of us are like ships in the night, barely have time to think or do anything, and our routine has been shot to bits managing their newborn. Well, he has taken on the responsibility of going to the supermarket more these days, as he finds the walks enjoyable and takes our toddler out while I'm at home with a newborn. Well, I sometimes buy myself a coconut water as a treat, as I love one brand. Recently, he has been buying some coconut water for me because he knows I love it. Well, when he's at the shop, he grabs the cheapest brand coconut water, but I cannot stand the taste of it, and I've asked him calmly several times not to buy that brand and to please spend the extra dollar to buy other brands, the ones that I really enjoy. So a note, my husband is the stingiest cheapskate that I know, and he's actually admitted to me that his money saving isn't a normal thing compared to others. We both have seriously well-paying jobs and are not financially stressed at all. He just loves a bargain and buys the no-name brand every time, all the time. He just says that he grabs the one mindlessly and doesn't mean to upset me, but he's done it 5 or 6 times now. And the last time, I didn't get angry at him. I just got him to really focus and explain my frustration and for him to please stop buying that brand. It tastes gross and it's not a treat for me, and to please get the other brand that I would actually buy. And he was like, yep, of course, and said that he would, like he has every other time. But I thought sort of explaining it more would let it sink in. Well, today he brought home the stuff again that tastes terrible, and I just lost it. We had a huge weekend, and I'm sick, and a coconut water would have been the nicest treat for me, but bringing home the brand that I cannot stand felt like it was the biggest punch in the gut for me. When I saw it, I was literally in shock. I just lost it, and I yelled at him, and I was like, what in the world? Why did you buy me that garbage again? And I threw the carton in the bin without even opening it. He was like, whoa, 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 I didn't do it on purpose. I then yelled, what's wrong with you? Like, why do you keep doing this? And he just walked out of the room, so it ended there. He got really upset at me and said that I made him cry by yelling at him and made our toddler upset because he got a bit scared when I yelled. The whole thing felt like a complete setup to me, and I don't know, after asking 5 or 6 times previously, patiently and calmly, how not to get to a point of just cracking up and yelling at him for him to stop buying that stuff, because it feels like a constant reminder of how much he doesn't care about me, after asking him to stop buying it several times. Am I the jerk for yelling? Like, what's going on here? All right, folks, what do you think?
I mean, I don't think Opie's in the wrong. I think well, it's unfortunate she snapped at him with the kid around. It does feel like she's consistently like explained to him, I do not enjoy this brand. It is not a treat. And has repeatedly like tried to make herself heard, tried to explain it to him, break it down. And he's always just like, yep, I won't do that again. And nothing changes. Mm-hmm. So I can see why her patience would run thin, because it does feel like he doesn't care. Like he gets in there in the moment and he has to save that dollar, even if it means that OP's not actually getting a treat and all he's doing. He can feel like he does something nice for her, but he's not actually doing anything nice for her because it's not the thing she likes.
Therapy. I think that he needs individual therapy and they need couples counseling. If he's gotten to the point where this is like a compulsion for him to buy the cheaper thing, then that's not good or helpful, and it's probably going to cause a lot of resentment. And so I think that it's not a great place to be in the relationship. I mean, this is kind of like the bursting point because they're both really busy. They both have a lot going on. And I think that it's just kind of everything has kind of come to a head at this point in time just because of the circumstances. And it'll pass, right? But I mean, certainly there's damage to be done here. Like the OP did yell at their partner, but like they were extraordinarily frustrated in the moment too, right?
Well, and then he's only taking his feelings into consideration. He's like, well, you made me cry. And it's like, well, but what about all the times you have brought Opie home something that she absolutely hates and she's had to just grin and bear it for you and like tried to explain to you and you could not be bothered to like, because I am very specific about certain brands. There is only one, Kraft mayo is the only mayo I will eat. I don't know why. The others all taste gross to me. And Brian has never bought me the wrong mayo.
Yeah, at least not on purpose. The store sometimes substitutes.
Yeah, the store sometimes substitutes, but that's not our fault. So, like, you know, it shouldn't be that hard. And if it really is that much of a compulsion where he has to grab the cheap thing no matter what, like Brian was saying, he needs some therapy to work on that because it is not helpful to anyone because they're wasting money on something. Like, in the end, they're actually wasting money because Opie's not going to drink this.
Well, I think if OP were to phrase it like that and just show him, like, if you buy this for me, every single time you buy from me, it's going straight into the trash. So you aren't going to be saving any money. It's just going to cost more. I mean, I think that OP could have probably gotten their point across without yelling. They probably could have just taken the thing.
Well, she did throw it in the trash.
Well, I know. And opened up the trash, dumped it in and said, oh, thank you. And then walked out or something like that. And then, you know, that would have gotten the point across at that point in time that OP is not taking this anymore, right? It's not saving any money. It's really not helping anyone. I just think it's unfortunate because OP was looking forward to a treat, and it can be really hard when you're looking forward to something and it just kind of doesn't happen.
Oh yeah, it's so frustrating. But
let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Putting Googly Eyes on All the Food in the Fridge to quote-unquote prevent snacking? And Amber wants to read this one.
My roommate eats everything. I'll buy a pack of cheese sticks and they're gone by morning. I asked nicely, then labeled stuff. No chains. So I got creative. I bought a pack of stick-on googly eyes and put them on everything. Milk, eyes. Leftover spaghetti, judging you. Even taped one to a banana. It worked. He just said it creeped him out and he stopped eating my stuff. Now he says I'm being passive-aggressive and creating an emotionally hostile refrigerator. Am I the jerk for turning the fridge into a surveillance horror movie to stop my food from vanishing? All right, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
I mean, I don't think Opie's the jerk. I mean, it's their food. They can attach as many googly eyes as they want to it.
Now I'm just imagining food with is just covered in googly eyes.
Yeah, like the more googly eyes, the better. And I mean, like, if it works, right? Mm-hmm. Opie's tried all the normal, reasonable things to get this to stop. They've communicated with it. And, you know, googly eyes, if that's what gets him to stop, then, I mean, that's great. I think that OP, you know, is certainly not in the wrong here.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I think, again, OP tried to, talk to the roommate, tried to label the food. It's very clear this is OP's food and the roommate is eating it anyway. So if it takes googly eyes to guilt trip the roommate into not eating OP's food, then fine, so be it.
Yeah. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, I had to change my entire writing style because of AI. This isn't a huge deal or anything like that, but it's something that I now have to think about daily. Every time I write an email or see a comment for any kind of generative AI, I get mad over it all over again. I was raised by a writer who believed in proper grammar, and that was incredibly important. I was taught when to correctly use less and fewer before I left elementary school, and using prepositions at the end of a sentence was almost a punishable offense. This same person, of course, taught me how to write, both informally and formally. I would constantly use em dashes and semicolons when doing simple things like catching up with friends via email or text, because it's all I knew. I didn't misspell things or have incorrect grammar in what I wrote, because it had been trained out of me since I could write. I used to get teased a little bit about how prissy it seemed, but it was just another silly thing that no one really ended up caring about. Since the rise of AI, I have constantly been accused of writing emails, texts, posts, and more with AI, even though I vehemently hate it and would never use it to speak for me. Work, friends, and family have all joked about how ChatGPT should have been credited for my lengthier responses, even though they're not seriously upset. It really bothers me that they believe that I'm blowing them off and not putting effort into communicating when I'm really trying my best. Because of all this, starting about 6 months ago, I decided to overhaul the entire way I write. I gave up on my beloved M dash, which nowadays can barely be used on any subreddit, including this one, and started actually including intentional little grammatical and spelling errors in the things that I wrote, especially to friends. I tried to write as informally as I could, even though it felt a little weird. Sometimes I write a few short sentences for fun and submit them to writing contests, and changing my creative style of writing to seem less like AI was pretty terrible. I despise generative AI because of this. I never really cared about writing correctly, and I don't care if other people have bad grammar and spelling. I wrote the way I did because it was what I was taught and what felt natural to me. Nowadays, writing differently on purpose feels so strange. Even writing this now, using little variation in punctuation, feels so wrong and abrupt to me. It makes me mad so much that this is something that I have to spend so much time worrying about. Mostly, I want my beloved M dash back. Edit. I didn't think so many people would respond to this. I feel bad that so many people can relate to this, but happy to know that there are people out there who hate AI as much as I do. I try to keep the amount of AI slop that I'm reading to an absolute minimum. So I had no clue that a specific cadence was more of an indication of AI than a specific punctuation. The people I was talking about just told me that the M dashes, lack of typos, and word choice in what I wrote to them meant that I must have at least partially used ChatGPT for my responses. I don't think that any of them are particularly well versed in AI either. Lol. I'm definitely going to be giving myself the occasional M dash back, even if I can't use them on Reddit. To the people in college, I feel for you. AI wasn't really a thing when I was in school, and I feel like I dodged a huge bullet here. I can imagine having to do all of my assignments while worrying about being confused for a robot. All right, folks, what do you think?
I mean, it is a really unfortunate situation with the rise of AI. Now, I do find it strange that people would like pick on someone whose writing style they've known for years. Like, I understand if you've never met someone before and their writing style sounds a little formal, why you might have some like suspicions, but like if OP's been writing this way the entire time, like why are you now assuming that they're using AI to do it?
Well, I mean, I read some of their comments, and basically they're mostly newer acquaintances and newer work people and stuff like that. So it isn't people that OP's known for a very long time, right?
But this is the problem with the like. And I want to make it very clear, I do not approve of using generative AI to write your things for you. I really think it is important that people write on their own. I don't think there's anything wrong with using like a basic spelling and grammar checker. That is an accessibility tool. But actually having them generate words for you, I think does cross a line. But I also think there is an issue where we've basically gone to essentially a witch hunt where anyone who writes with a certain writing style is now being targeted and accused of AI. And they have found that this particularly hurts neurodivergent people who, in general, tend to have a more almost like mechanical writing style. That tends to be what AI spits out. And so...
Probably because all the technical jargon that the AI has absorbed came from people who were largely neurodivergent.
Yeah.
The thing is, like, I don't actually object to people using generative AI to help them in certain areas. I think that it can be a great accessibility tool. I think there are some things that have been really great, like people who couldn't speak before being able to be given a voice, for instance, right? Yeah. There's certainly, like, room for AI in that respect. And, I think people using it for maybe a little tiny bits here and there is probably not going to do anything to ruin anyone's writing and stuff like that. It's difficult because we now have this tool and we have to figure out how to work in a modern world with this tool, right? And I think that it's unfortunate that some people are being accused of doing everything in AI when they aren't. And I think that even these people are like, well, it's a cadence or blah, 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 right? Like, how do you know that OP's cadence isn't an AI-like cadence, right?
Well, and that's the thing. And again, a lot of the AI checkers out there are really bad. We don't understand how or why AI works the way it works. And so actually identifying like AI, and that's actually something I heard someone talking about. It was like they were submitting a writing they wanted to submit a writing thing to like a anthology or some kind of submission call. And on the submission call, they're like, we'll be running your piece through an AI checker. I cringed hearing that because like these AI detectors are actually really bad at what they do.
Yeah, I mean, it's very difficult. The reason why it's very difficult to detect AI is because it's based off of what people have written, right? And AI is going to replicate those patterns. So if you see AI using a lot of M dashes, it's because people use a lot of M dashes. If people use a lot of similar phrases, like one of the phrases that people often cite as being an indicator of AI is someone was blowing up my phone, or they were blowing up my phone, right? And that means that collectively people use that phrase a lot, and that's why AI adopted that phrase, right? So certainly it's a difficult problem because these AI generated, texts are based off of what people have to say. Now, I think the better thing to look out for are inconsistencies, right? If you find inconsistencies in memory and thought and responses and, things that just don't add up quite right, that may be more of an indicator, but again, like people are inconsistent anyways, and people's memories aren't necessarily consistent. So that's even there, like a little bit of a harder thing to kind of draw from.
Yeah, I mean, it is harder, but that is a good point, is that inconsistencies are probably a bigger tell, especially if you have a longer body of work. Like, yeah, people will forget some things. And if someone were to write a story and say the character has a red coat in one scene and then it's blue in another, that's probably just they didn't check. But if you notice, things that don't make sense, sometimes when I read Reddit stories, I'll read something and I'll be like, wait, that doesn't quite add up. And those are the ones I'll just discount out of hand because it's like, things aren't adding up. I'm concerned this is AI.
So it's difficult. And I feel bad for OP here because no one wants to be accused of being a robot, right? So, but let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, it's tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here. And Amber, she has a joke.
Why did the bodybuilder insist that they could lift the coastal beacon?
To get to the other side.
Because it was a lighthouse.
To get to the other side.
I don't get it.
They lifted it, and then things didn't go so well for them, and so they got to the other side, and quite the
of course
quite
you
the,
had to make it
quite
morbid.
the morbid way.
Yeah, you would think of the two of us, which one of us would you? I mean, I guess we're both kind of horror writers, but based on me versus Brian, who would you guess is the horror writer here?
I mean, I do write horror.
I said we are both horror
yeah.
writers, but. Yeah, it's National Lighthouse Day and also National Sea Serpent Day.
So don't go lifting up any buildings because that won't go so well for you. I promise you it won't. It really will not. Unless you have like a whole team of people to help you and you've got jacks and all kinds of things. But don't lift up a building on your own. So National Lighthouse Day is a bad day. No houses are light unless they're like balloon houses. Then you can lift them up. If you want to lift up a balloon house, go for it. I'm not going to stop you. And I have Mega Mint. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy, wonderful Friday, Junior.
Happy Friday, Junior.
Thanks so much to Amber for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance, and please have it on being rude to people, putting googly eyes on things. I don't know, putting googly eyes on things.
You better watch out. You better not cry, you better not shout, I'm telling you why. Googly eyes are watching you all the time tonight.
Yeah, well, there you have it, folks. Go be sure to find some googly eyes and then stab them so they stop watching you. Down with the googly eyes. Down with the googly eyes. But thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.